A cordial welcome to all the researchers and my dear listeners. This is Santosh Bhaskar Rao Gore, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Loknayak Bapujane Mahila Mahavidyalaya, Yavatmal. Today we are going to discuss about research methodology and its basic components. Now, whenever we talk about research methodology, the first question that comes to our mind is what is research? Now, research can be defined as the search for knowledge or as any systematic investigation to establish facts. Now, it is very rightly said that research is nothing but search for knowledge, or we can say that we investigate some established facts. Some facts are there and we investigate, we search for them and establish them. Now, characteristics of research. There are 5 major characteristics of research. First one is systematic, second logical, third empirical, fourth reductive, and fifth replicable. Systematic, it means you cannot follow the research approach in a haphazard manner or in a heavy manner or in a manner that your will goes. No way. You have to follow the research systematically. There are some steps and you have to follow them. The second characteristic is logical. You have to be logical while following the approach. Third characteristic is empirical. Empirical means you have to get the knowledge by evidence. This means you don't have to believe blindly. You have to just prove the facts and then establish the knowledge. This is empirical approach. Fourth one is reductive. Obviously, when you go for research, you establish the fact and you reduce the uncertainty of it. You reduce the possibility of it. And fifth one is replicable. This means duplication can be made. Here, duplication is not in the sense of plagiarism, but replicable means it can be replicated, it can be duplicated, and it can be forwarded to other researchers who are willing to research for the same area. This means they can follow this approach. Now, we'll discuss about types of research. First one is pure and applied research. Second one is exploratory or formulative research. Third one is descriptive research. Fourth one is diagnostic study. Fifth one is evaluation studies. Sixth one is action research. Seventh one is experimental research. Eighth one is analytical study or statistical method. Ninth one is historical research. 10th one is surveys, and 11th is case study. Now we'll discuss about each and every type of research in detail. Pure and applied research. Pure means it is the study of search of knowledge. This type of research is done for only the search of knowledge. You have to search for the knowledge, and based on that knowledge you have to establish the facts. Applied, it is the study of finding solution to a problem. Now, applied research says that if there is a problem, you have to find the solution for it, and this is for applied research. Now, we have to discuss about purpose of pure and applied research. The purpose of pure research is it can contribute new facts. Obviously, when you go for pure research, it will contribute to new facts. New facts will come into being. Second one, it can put theory to the rest. This can be, your theory can be put to the rest and test even. Here rest means you can establish the theory and it will be permanent and you can put your theory to test. Third one is it may aid in conceptual clarification. Now there are some concepts and they are hard to understand. So to clarify this concept, to make these concepts easier, pure research is applied. Fourth one is it may integrate previously existing theories. Now there are some previously existing theories and they must be integrated. They must be linked together to form a whole. So for this, pure research is contributed and pure research is implemented. Now let us go for applied research purpose. It offers solutions to many practical problems. Obviously, there are some practical problems and some solutions are found using applied research. The second purpose of applied research is to find the critical factors in a practical problem. Now, there are some problems and you have to find the critical factors which are very important. So, finding out these critical factors, you have to separate them and you have to concentrate on them and find a perfect solution. This is the second purpose of applied research. Second, or the next one is exploratory or formulative research. Exploratory research is preliminary study of an unfamiliar problem about which the researcher has little or no knowledge. Obviously, when a researcher is searching for a problem and he has little or almost no knowledge of it, then that problem is unfamiliar for him and he goes for the preliminary study of it. That is known as exploratory research. Means he is exploring something. Now, purpose of exploratory research to generate new ideas. Obviously, this can be all pervasive. The purpose of exploratory research is to generate new ideas. Next one is to increase the researcher's familiarity with the problem. Obviously, he is unfamiliar with the problem, but as soon as he goes on searching, he will be familiar with the problem. Third one is to make a precise formulation of the problem. Now you have to formulate the problem. Then, if the problem is not precise, if it is in a heavy manner, it will create problems. To make it precise, exploratory research is used. Next purpose is to gather information for clarifying concepts. I have already told you, there are some concepts which are complex to understand, which are complicated to understand. But this research has the purpose to gather information for clarifying such concepts. And last but not the least is to determine whether it is feasible to attempt the study. Means, if it is beneficial, if it is in the scope and in the limits so that it can be studied, or is it going beyond the expenses, beyond the labors, beyond the efforts. So to determine whether it is feasible or not, it is the purpose of the explorative study to go for it. The next one is descriptive research. Descriptive study is a fact-finding investigation with adequate interpretation. Now, the name suggests it is a fact-finding investigation with adequate interpretation. You have to find the facts, you have to investigate, you have to go through the problem and you have to interpret it adequately. Means you have to understand it thoroughly. It is a simpler type of research. Yes, obviously descriptive research is the simplest type of research. The next point is it is designed to gather descriptive information and provides information for formulating more sophisticated studies. Now, this is a sophisticated type of research and it's a high class research. It gives and it gathers descriptive information and it provides information to formulate the problems and to formulate your study. The next point is data are collected using observation, interview and mail questionnaire. Obviously, these three methods are used for data collection: observation, interview and mail questionnaire. The purpose of descriptive research. First one is it can focus directly on a theoretical point. Obviously, theories are much more important, so theoretical points are focused and they can be directly focused with the help of descriptive research. It can highlight important methodological aspects of data collection and interpretation. Obviously, much more focus is given to methodological aspects of data collection and interpretation, where you have to collect the data and you have to interpret the data. Third point is it obtained in a research may be useful for prediction about areas of social life outside in the boundaries of research. Suppose your boundary is fixed of the research, but outside that boundary you have to predict about the social life, areas of social life. You can do that. This is a very good characteristic of purpose of this descriptive study. Fourth one is descriptive studies are valuable in providing facts needed for planning social action programs. Now there are descriptive studies and they are valuable to provide facts and they are needed for social planning and action program. As we know, we are social animal and we work for society, we live in society. So it is our purpose to give something for the society. And with the research, you can give valuable contribution to the society. So descriptive studies or descriptive researches are a very much important instrument for providing contribution to the society. Diagnostic study. This study is directed towards discovering what is happening, why it is happening, and what can be done about. So, very good scenario of this. Now, sees to it that what is actually happening, why it is happening. It just takes out the reasons, it searches for the reason, and if this thing is happening and because of this is happening, what can be done about. So there are measures that can be taken out. This is the purpose of diagnostic study. The next is it aims at identifying the causes of a problem and the possible solutions for it. Now the aim of it is to identify the cause of a problem. Suppose there are problems. Suppose in a society the crime rate is going on, and in this diagnostic study they try to identify the cause of a problem. What is the problem? Okay, the cause of the problem may be, say, suppose unemployment. And then the researchers will provide the possible solution that employment rate must be increased so that unemployed people will get the employment, they get the work, and the crime rate is reduced. Purpose of this study. This study may also be concerned with discovering and testing whether certain variables are associated. Yes, there are some variables. Variables are the entities that keep changing. So it is also concerned with discovering them, discovering the variables and testing the variables which are associated with the research. The second purpose is to determine the frequency with which something occurs or with which it is associated with something else. Now they decide the frequency. If something is happening, after how much interval it is happening, and if it is associated with something. Now suppose, as we have discussed, the crime rate. So what is the frequency of the crime? Is it happening on a daily basis? Is it occurring on a fortnightly basis? So on and so forth. So the frequency is tested. Next one is evaluation studies. It is one type of applied research. It is a type of applied research. It is made for assessing the effectiveness of social or economic programs implemented or for assessing the impact of developmental projects area. You know, it's a sort of corporate or government types of evaluation studies. Now, some social and economic programs are implemented by some corporate sector or by some government sector. Now, to assess them, to assess the development of such projects areas, evaluation studies are done. The third point of this is the determination of the results attained by some activity designed to accomplish some valued goal or objective. Now, the results are determined and some activities designed to accomplish some valued goal or objectives. There are some objectives, there are some valued goals that have to be attained, and that is why a plan is done in this evaluation studies. Purpose of evaluation studies. It is directed to assess to or appraise the quality and quantity of an activity and its performance. Suppose an activity of measuring social awareness about education is taken. So this activity is assessed, it is evaluated, and it is appraised. The quality of it and quantity of it is assessed. The performance is taken into consideration. The next purpose is to specify its attributes and conditions required for its success. There are some attributes, there are some conditions that are required for the success of this program. Means you have to go for all the parameters and all the measures to make your project successful, your research successful. action research. Now, what is this action research? Researcher attempts to study action, that is eradication of malaria, maritime navigation. Some actions are there: eradication of poverty, eradication of corona. So, to eradicate this, to eradicate such, say, eradication of corona, researchers attempt to study this action, and it is called action research. The next point is action research is a reflective process of progressive problem solving led by individuals working with others in teams or as a part of community practice to improve the way they address issues and solve problems. Now, it is a reflective process. Some reflections are there, some thinking process is there. Now, the problem is always progressive, and you have to solve this progressive problem. Now, some individuals are there, they are working in a team to solve the problem, or some community of practice is done to solve such problems. Now they are improved, they address the issues and they solve the problems. Researchers, they go for the issues, they go for the problems, and they solve it. This is called action research. Purpose of action research: it is a baseline survey of the pre-action situation. Now, you have to go for the baseline survey. Suppose you are going to eradicate, or you are going to undertake the research eradication of corona. Now you have to go for the baseline survey of pre-action situation. Means before corona, what was the condition? And you have to survey it. Second, a feasibility study of the proposed action program. Now, if you are going to propose that action program, is it feasible for you? Is it beneficial for you? So to decide this is the purpose of action research. Third one is planning and launching the program. Now you have to plan and launch the program. It is rightly said that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So you have to plan the program and then launch the program. Means you have to implement the program. Fourth point is concurrent evaluation of the program. At the same time, while you are launching the program, you are implementing the program, concurrently you have to go for the evaluation. Simultaneously, you will have to evaluate your program. And last but not the least, making modifications and changes in the program. Now, at times, it is not perfectly said that you will plan very perfectly. There might be modifications as per the conditions arises, and there are changes in your program. So you can be able to go for the changes in the program. Next type of research is experimental research. Experimental research is commonly used in sciences such as sociology and psychology, physics, chemistry, biology, and medicines. Means in science, when some researches are taken, they are known as experimental research. As the name suggests, research based on experiments. The next characteristic of experimental research is it is a systematic and scientific approach to research in which the researcher manipulates one or more variables and controls and measures any changes in other variables. Now, it's a systematic and scientific approach in research. You have to manipulate the variables and you have to control them and measure them, and the changes in other variables are noted down. Now, purpose of experimental research. Experiments are conducted to be able to predict phenomena. Phenomena means the scenes which are rare to be seen. So, experiments are conducted. Suppose the process of photosynthesis. Generally, it cannot be seen with the naked eyes, but with the help of scientific research, placing on the cameras, placing on the strips, placing on the other measures, that can be recorded. Next one, to maintain control over all factors. In this scientific research, you have to maintain control over all the factors. In this experimental research, all the factors must be controlled. And third point is a blueprint of the procedure that enables the researcher to test his hypothesis. Now, there must be a blueprint of the procedure, means a plan a chalked out plan that is on the paper, it enables the researcher to test his hypothesis. You know, hypothesis is the most important part of any research, and researcher is able to test this hypothesis using the blueprint procedure. Analytical study. This type of research is a system of procedures and techniques of analysis applied to quantitative data. You know, while doing research, you collect quantitative data and you make analysis of it, detailed study of it. So system procedures are there in this analytical study. A system of mathematical models or statistical techniques applicable to numerical data. Some numerical data is there, and with the systematical mathematic and statistics techniques, you can apply it and you can get the results. Scientometrics. For example, scientometrics is an application that is used in analytical study to analyze the facts. Purpose of analytical study. It aims at testing hypothesis and specifying and interpreting relationship. Obviously, it tests hypothesis and specify the interpreting relationship. Means you understand the relationship and you specify it. The next purpose is it concentrates on analyzing data in depth and examining relationships from various angles by bringing in as many relevant variables as possible in the analysis plan. Now, as the name suggests, the analysis of data is done and it is in depth, it is very detailed. Then relationships are examined, and they are examined from various angles, and many relevant variables brought into the analysis plan. All the variables are brought into the analysis plan and the relationship between them is established. Historical research. The systematic collection and evaluation of data related to past occurrences in order to describe causes, effects, and trends of those events that may help explain present events and anticipate future events. Now, as the name suggests, historical research, it is based on the past facts, and cause and effect relationship is developed in this. The next point is data is often archival, including newspaper, clippings, photographs, etc., and may include interviews. Data is often archival. This means it is historic. You can take newspaper clippings, photographs, and it may include other interviews even. Purpose of historical research now. To draw explanations and generalization from the past trends in order to understand the present and anticipate the future. Means using this, you just take some conclusions from the past trends. On the basis of it, you understand the present and then you anticipate the future. Next purpose is it enables us to grasp our relationship with the past and to plan more intelligently for the future. Obviously, you know, when you study past, you can establish relationship with the present and then you can more intelligently plan for your future. Third purpose is the past contains the key to the present and the past and the present influences the future. Obviously, when you have past experience, it is the key to your present, and using present and past, it will influence your future and you can make it more secure. Last but not the least purpose of this is it helps in visualizing the society as a dynamic organism, and its structures and functions as evolving steadily, growing and undergoing change and transformation. You know, in a society, we can say that we are in a dynamic state. We are dynamic organism, and the structures and functions of the society is always changing. It is always evolving, and mind well, it always grows and it undergoes changes and transformation. Next type of research is survey research. As the name suggests, survey research is one of the most important areas of the measurement in applied social research. The broad area of survey research encompasses any measurement procedures that involve asking questions of respondents. A survey can be anything from a short paper and pencil feedback form to an interview or intensive one-to-one in-depth interview. Survey research is not just filling up the questionnaires or putting down the points, but you survey it, you go for the questions, you get the detailed information from your research area, and then you go for in-depth interviews. You interview each and every person concerned with that research, and on the basis of your survey and research, you go for conclusions and fact finding of the research. Purpose of this research: it is always conducted in a natural setting. Obviously, the natural setting must be there. It seeks responses directly from respondents. Direct responses are taken from the respondents. It can cover a very large population. Third point says that it can cover a large population. Means if the population is large, you can go for survey method. Fourth point is a survey may involve an extensive study or an intensive study. Study can be extensive or intensive. So it can be inclusive or exclusive in a sense. Fifth point, a survey covers a definite geographical area, a city, district, state. Obviously, for survey area, some geographical area is defined. Say a village, a city, a district, a state, or even a country. Case study method now. A case study is a research methodology common in social science. Case study method is always common in social science. They take a case and study it thoroughly. Second point, it is based on an in-depth investigation of a single individual, group or event to explore causation in order to find underlying principles. Now, this case study is based on in-depth investigation. Thorough search is done, and a single individual, a group or event is explored for the causation. Means, suppose we want to take case study of the social phenomenon of unemployment. Now, in-depth investigation of unemployment is done. Once again, they will establish the cause and effect relationship. What is the cause of, say, unemployment? And what are the causes or what are the solutions to remove unemployment? And some underlying principles, some underlying things are taken into consideration. Why is this unemployment increasing? What are the causes? Suppose they find a cause, increased population. Now they will try to control it. Means the researchers, they will try to provide solution for it. Purpose of case study research: to examine limited number of variables. Now, if there are limited number of variables, this case study method is taken into consideration. Case study methods involve an in-depth longitudinal examination of a single instance or event. A single instant or single event is taken for the case study method, and in-depth analysis is done. Third purpose is it provides a systematic way of looking at events, collecting data, analyzing information, and reporting the results. Now, in this case study method, a systematic way is done to explore the events, to look at the events. Then data related to that event is collected. This information is analyzed, thoroughly studied, and then results are reported, results are drawn out. Field research. This type of research has traditionally been thought different from methods of research conducted in a laboratory or academic setting. You know, the name suggests it is not done in laboratory or not done in academic setting. It is actually done in the field. The purpose of the field research is, the advantages of field research are that people are closer to real world conditions and design the research in the best way to discover the particular information required. Now, the field research advantage is that people are very closer to real world. They are in the field actually. They are living in the conditions and design the research in the best way to discover the particular information required. Now we can design the research in a best way so that we can discover the particular information required. Suppose we want to know the reasons of poverty in India. So it cannot be explored sitting in an AC room or sitting in a study. You have to go to the real world. You have to go to the real field. You have to go to the real huts, talk to the people, and get the required information, particular information. Then and then only, directly talking to people, you will get the real results. Now, we come to the next point, that is research design. The term research design means drawing for research. It is nothing but the blueprint for research. Means you plan on paper what research and how it is to be done. Next, it is a systematic planning of conducting research. This means you plan systematically how to conduct your research. A third point is it aims to achieve goals of the research. Obviously, you have some goal for the research and you aim for it, and you achieve your goals through this research. Definition. The definition of research design as the arrangement of conditions for collection and analysis of data in a manner that aims to combine the relevance to the research purpose with economy and procedure. This is by Jahoda. It is the arrangement of condition for collection and analysis of data. Research design is nothing but collection of data and then analyzing that data. But it must be in a manner that it aims to combine the relevance to the research purpose. It must be related to a research purpose and with economy and procedure. And there must be economy and procedure. It should not be much more expensive. It should be less expensive. It should be very less in budget. Next definition is a master plan specifying the methods and procedures for collecting and analyzing the needed information. By Zygmunt. This definition by Zygmunt. It is a master plan. Research design is nothing but a master plan. It specifies the methods and procedures for collecting and analyzing the needed information. Suppose you are going for the research, you will need some data. You have to collect the data. So you cannot collect the data in a haphazard manner, but you collect the data in a systematic manner and you analyze it. So the procedure for collection and analysis is given by this research design. Need and purpose of research design. It helps in smooth selling of the research process. Obviously, if you want to carry on your research process smoothly, you have to go for a plan, and that is nothing but research design. It saves the money, manpower, and materials. Obviously, if your plan research design is solid, it will save your money, manpower, and materials. Third purpose, it helps the researchers for advanced planning and avoids duplication. Obviously, you have to take into consideration the future. For future advanced planning, you need research design, and the research design avoids duplication because you know that you have done this activity that is on paper, so you will never carry out that activity once again. So duplication is avoided. Fourth point is it helps to modify the research if any difficulties. Suppose if any difficulties are there, they can be modified, they can be changed with the help of research design. And last but not the least, it gives reality to research. Obviously, research design gives reality to your research. It means that some real facts are taken into consideration, and when the results are there, they look very real. Now, research design process. How to design your research. Selection of research topic problem. First of all, you'll have to select the topic or problem of your research. Then framing research design. You have to frame out your research design. Framing sampling design. Obviously, you will need samples for your research, so you have to design for sample even. Collection of data. Then regarding your research topic, you have to collect the data. Next step is data analysis, editing, coding, processing, and preservation. After collection of data, you have to analyze the data, you have to edit the data, you have to code the data, you have to make processes on the data, and you have to preserve it. And the next step is, last but not the least, writing research reports. Based on all the above factors, you will have to write the research report. Now, there are some characteristics of good research design. It is theory grounded. Good research design is based on theory. When a proper theory is carried out, it is also possible to execute it in a practical manner. Environment. Environment is taken into consideration for a good research design. Feasibility of implementation. Yes, it is taken into consideration that if it is feasible to implement, means if it is beneficial to implement the research design. Redundancy. Redundancy in a sense that duplication of research design process must be done. Means suppose there are 7 steps in your research, you have to follow all the 7 steps with the research design. Means in first step you have prepared the research design, in the second step you have to do the same thing, third step, means for 7 steps you have to go for 7 research design. So redundancy is there. Efficient. Your research design must be efficient, it must give you good results. The next characteristics is it should be flexible, means you must be able to change it at any moment. Next point is it should be also economical. Economical means should be less expensive, should be cheap. Third one is it should be unbiased. Unbiased means, biased means if you keep any view before getting into that fact, means already formed view is dangerous. So your research design must be unbiased, without thinking or without taking into consideration any previous fact. You should design your research process. Fourth point is it should fulfill the objectives of the research. Obviously, when you are designing for some objectives, your objectives must be fulfilled using that research design. And the next one is it should be more appropriate to all the aspects of research. It should be proper to all the aspects, all the facets and all the factors of research. Next point is it should guide him to achieve correct results. Obviously, to attain proper results, correct results, it should guide him. Next one is it provides scientific base for his research. Obviously, the researcher gets the scientific research on the basis of research design. The next point is it also should facilitate to complete the research work within the stipulated time. Obviously, your research is in a time bound limit. If it goes beyond the time limit, it is not useful. So research design helps you to complete your research within the stipulated time, within the selected or preferred time limit. Functions of research design. It provides a blueprint of research. Obviously, it gives you a blueprint of research. It limits and dictates the boundaries of the research activities. Some boundaries are formed and they are limited to that boundaries. And the third one is it enables investigation to anticipate potential problems. It helps you to investigate and to anticipate the potential problem, means you can forecast the problem that is coming into your research in future. Now, components of research design. What are the various components? Title of the investigation, you have to give the title. Purpose of the study. In research design, you have to give the purpose of the study. Review of related literature. Before going into any research, you have to review the related literature. It should be in your research design. Statement of the problem. Then you have to state the problem of your research. Scope of investigation. You have to decide the scope of your investigation. Means you have to limit your boundaries so that your research is time bound and limited. Then in research design, you have to specify the objectives of the study. Next, you have to decide the variables of your research. Next, you have to form hypotheses. Then you have to select the samples. Based on the samples, you have to collect the data. And after collection of data, you'll have to analyze that data. Here we come to the end of this presentation. I thank you all for listening to me so carefully, so patiently. Thank you once again. Bye-bye.